Superman just came out and people are fighting over it, so let's give it a review. First thing I thought as soon as I left the theater is that this is the first movie in like 10 years that has truthfully nailed its main character in terms of tone, essence, and personality. If you had any doubts about the casting of David as Superman, let me put them to rest. This man is the right guy for the job. Not only does he have the look, the charm, and the charisma, he's able to perfectly mirror Clark and Superman's dynamic to the T. Granted, it is not a perfect movie, but when it comes to the visuals, the action set pieces, and every single person you see on this poster, everybody pulled their weight. One of the main criticisms I've seen is that they're not giving you an origin story, and I actually think that's a good idea. We are witnessing a story that is taking place in an already established world where superheroes and metahumans have been in here for like 3 decades. What that did is that it gave David more time to truthfully embody the duality between Clark and Kal-El. Every relationship that you see fleshed out in this movie works, especially between the Justice Gang, Superman and Lois, and of course, the tension that you see between Lex Luthor and Superman. The only real issues that I have with this movie is pacing and a couple of the humorous moments. It is a 2-hour and 10-minute movie with a lot of fight scenes and a bunch of stuff to cover. And if we're keeping it a buck, there's a lot of characters in the film, so a lot of the subplots can get jumbled together, and it can feel like it's dragging, especially around the second act. But as a huge comic book nerd, I loved how they executed it. James Gunn has a very particular brand of humor. We've seen it in a bunch of superhero projects before, especially Guardians of the Galaxy. I personally love it. But this movie has a couple of core philosophical moments where you really need to feel the weight of what's happening on screen, and I find it a little bit jarring that instead of letting the moment flow and feeling that emotion, there's a couple quirky James Gunn style bits that kind of let them go by the wayside. It's not to say that they're not impactful, but they could have hit a lot harder. The best way that I can describe this film in one sentence is that it's the perfect marriage between Smallville, Justice League Unlimited, and the Richard Donner 1978 movie. My favorite Superman ever has been the animated version, just the same with Batman and The Flash, and this is the closest we will ever get to seeing that in live action. It's colorful, funny, and hopeful, and that's all I wanted to see. My biggest hope is that they keep this tone, similar to Justice League Unlimited, on every single project, especially with Batman. This might be a hot take, but I don't want to see another brooding Batman. I want to see Superman's best friend that mirrors him in terms of his approach to crime fighting. I think if you're looking for that nostalgia hit that also gets you excited for the future of DC, this is the best movie that they could have given us, and I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.